Today I'm going to show you how to paint a glow. So glows happen naturally with a dark night and a full moon out, for example, or if it's a dark night and tail lights. You can get glows even in daytime or in a dark room and there's something like a cell phone emitting a light source. So sometimes it's nice to have kind of this aura around something. So I've chosen to do a lantern at night to best show how light radiates and moves away from the form and it shifts. So here I am time lapsing this. You want to paint in circles when you're doing this. So I am making sure that the light is creating like an aura around the object. So my most common glows occur either with a full moon on a dark sky, or it'll occur at night scene with lights, specifically like neon signs. Those really do kind of glow. And if there's a haze out or if it's raining, the glow will increase. So I'm focusing on this kind of lantern shape and I'm radiating out from that point. Think like how Van Gogh would paint a star and have the radiating strokes surrounding that star. That's a really good example of a successful glow. And you can see it transitions. And this is something that I would do wet into wet. So both bodies of paint, the yellow and the yellow orange, are both wet at the same time, so I can push one into the other so it can blend. And I'm working on a white canvas, so there is no tone. It would probably be easier and more effective if there was a tone. So at first this might look like kind of like a lollipop, and there's all these different rings of color around that lollipop. But I'm going to slowly start to push the blending a little bit more as I go. And for this, I decided to work from light to mid-tone to dark. But on the second coat, I actually flipped it and worked dark into light. You just have to be careful that you keep your lights clean. And you do want it to be a gentle transition. It shouldn't be harsh. And sometimes that will happen more effectively with multiple coats. So as the light progresses away from the source, it shifts, it changes, it takes on the color of the sky. And in this case, the color of the sky is influenced by red. Even though the sky is a night sky, you have to understand that not every night sky is going to be navy colored. There are night skies that lean towards green, like blue-green, and there are skies that lean more towards purple. If you have man-made lights, the sky will often turn reddish, like red burgundy, like you're seeing here. And by the way, to get that red burgundy, it's red, like the cherry red, mixed with viridian green. So it's our green and our bright red mixed together. And like with anything, you don't let things just go with one layer. You want to build up the layers here. And you can see I'm still curving my stroke. So my stroke is basically following that contour of that kind of circle-y oval pattern until I get to the edge, and then occasionally I'll change my brush direction. I'll angle it. It'll still be pointing towards the light though. I think that's important. So brush work, the angle, the direction of your brush is going to be important no matter what. Here is layer 2 that you're seeing. So I'm working from the darks. And again, it's a burgundy or crimson color. It does have red and green in it. I did not use black. And then I'm going to work my way in again. And you can see my goal is to make it look less like a lollipop and more natural, like how light actually works, where it's a slow transition from one color to the next, and there's no obvious lines separating one ring of light from the other. It should be a smooth kind of fusion as it goes from one ring to the next. And you can see the glow is always the lightest part or the brightest part. And then around that glow, it gets increasingly more saturated, not necessarily with black at all. It's saturated with color. So with the yellow, the red, and then finally that kind of burgundy color. And I'm fussing with it a little bit too, and that's important that you do that as well. It is important that you are still going thin with your application of paint. It shouldn't be thick. There shouldn't be a buildup. You know, you have to remember that this paint has plastic in it. And when you layer that, it becomes even more plasticky and it can be a little bit icky. It's better to go thin, not watered down necessarily. That's not what I'm saying here. In fact, I didn't use water on this second coat at all. I'm just saying that you don't want to have too much paint on your brush. And if you do get a lot of paint, you need to wipe it off on the side, the lip of your palette. That's also why I recommend holding either a rag in one hand or a paper towel, because you should wipe your brush off if you have too much stuff. It can be hard to control if you have too much paint sitting on your brush as well. So when you're thinking of glows, think of like as you're driving at night and you see tail lights. In fact, that is your homework. So as you're moving around your life at night, look for things that emit light and watch how that light changes as it moves away from that source. So here's what it looks like at the end of the demonstration. You can see that the light is moving away and it's shifting and it's falling on some other things behind the light too, and it's affecting that as well. So that's how you do a glow. Ask yourself if there is need for that in your painting too. Otherwise, it's good to know about.